It appears that I once again ruffled the feathers of our Kentucky Fried former president. Is still smarting from my joke about him at the Oscars.
Late-night TV is known for laughs, but this time the joke hit a nerve. Jimmy Kimmel, who's known for his bold jokes and straight-up roasting people, had Trump in his sights again. Only this time, it wasn't just politics. He made fun of Trump's marriage, live on air. And to make it even messier, Jim Carrey jumped in too, throwing in his own wild impressions. The crowd laughed, but not everyone found it funny. The internet lit up. Rumors, reactions, and a whole lot of drama followed. So what exactly happened on that stage? And why is everyone still talking about it? Join us as we break down exactly what Jimmy Kimmel and Jim Carrey said on live TV, and how people reacted when the jokes went way too far. From Brooklyn to late-night fame. Jimmy Kimmel wasn't born into Hollywood. He started out in Brooklyn, New York, in a neighborhood called Mill Basin. Born on November 13, 1967, he was the oldest of 3 kids. His dad worked at American Express and later at IBM. His mom's side of the family came from Italy, and his roots also trace back to Germany and Albania. He was raised Catholic and even worked as an altar boy. At age 9, his family moved to Las Vegas. He went to Ed W. Clark High School and later studied at the University of Nevada before transferring to Arizona State. He didn't finish a degree there, but years later UNLV gave him an honorary one. Kimmel's big break didn't come through TV right away. He was actually inspired by David Letterman and got into radio. He started off with a Sunday night show at his college station. Then he bounced around radio stations in Seattle, Tampa, Tucson, and Palm Springs. At one point, he even worked with Carson Daly as his intern. Eventually, he landed at KROC FM in Los Angeles. That's where he became Jimmy the Sports Guy and met comedian Adam Carolla, a connection that would shape his future. But Jimmy didn't want to do TV at first. It took a few offers before he finally joined Win Ben Stein's Money in 1997. His natural humor and laid-back style made him the perfect match to Ben Stein's serious tone. They even won an Emmy together. Around that time, he also started co-hosting The Man Show with Adam Carolla. From there, he co-created other shows like Crank Yankers and The Andy Milonakis Show. All that led to his biggest break, Jimmy Kimmel Live on ABC, which started in 2003. He's been hosting that show for over 2 decades now, making him the longest-running late-night host in the U.S. after Conan O'Brien stepped down. The sharp tongue of Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel's comedy isn't soft, it's bold, direct, and sometimes risky. Over the years, he's mocked celebrities, politicians, and even kids. In 2013, he hosted a segment called Kids Table. He asked 5- and 6-year-olds about the U.S. government shutdown. One kid suggested killing all the people in China to solve America's debt. Kimmel laughed it off and called it an interesting idea. Then he asked, "Should we allow the Chinese to live?" That didn't go over well. The Chinese-American community protested. People marched in San Francisco. A White House petition even got enough signatures to force a response. ABC apologized. Kimmel also went on air and said he didn't mean to offend anyone. But that's Jimmy Kimmel. He toes the line between funny and offensive. And he doesn't back down easily. One of his longest-running fake feuds has been with actor Matt Damon. He always ends his show with, "My apologies to Matt Damon, we ran out of time." Once Damon finally came on the show, only to be told again that they were out of time. The two have gone back and forth with jokes ever since. Then there was the time Kimmel made a parody song called "I'm Fing Ben Affleck." It was in response to his then-girlfriend Sarah Silverman's video with Matt Damon, where she sang, "I'm Fing Matt Damon." Kimmel's video featured Brad Pitt, Robin Williams, Harrison Ford, and even Meatloaf. It was a full-blown Hollywood roast. Jimmy knows how to make people laugh, but he also knows how to stir the pot. And one person he's never stopped poking fun at is Donald Trump. Kimmel versus Trump, a long history of jokes. You see, Kimmel didn't just start making fun of Trump recently. He's been doing it for years. Back in 2017, Jimmy mocked a strange moment between Donald and Melania Trump. It happened during a speech at Joint Base Andrews. Melania introduced Trump, but instead of giving her a kiss or hug, he gave her a stiff handshake, like they were business partners. Kimmel showed the clip and called it the most uncomfortable display of affection between any husband and wife this year. He added, "My wife and I shake hands before bed every night." Then he joked that Trump shut her down like a robot from Westworld, and when Trump told Melania to go sit down, Kimmel laughed and said, "You should have walked off that stage and kept walking all the way back to Slovenia." That wasn't the only time he made fun of their awkward moments. Kimmel pulled up past clips too, like when Trump left Melania behind during the inauguration or when she swatted his hand away during a trip to Israel. Showing all those moments, Kimmel said, "These two lovebirds can't get enough of each other. After all these years of marriage, it's so sweet how in love they are." His jokes didn't stop at body language or awkward handshakes. When Trump once said, "You know bullies? You know what a bully is, right?" Kimmel just couldn't resist. Trump had said that bullies are the weakest people. Kimmel replied, "Does he have any self-awareness at all?" He added that Biff, the bully from Back to the Future, was based on Trump, and that was 30 years before he became president. That wasn't just a joke. Back to the Future screenwriter Bob Gale had actually confirmed it in 2015. These moments show that Kimmel never holds back, and it's no surprise that Trump may not be his biggest fan. Now, fast forward to the recent chaos that brought this story to life. Jimmy Kimmel did what he usually does, joked about Trump. But this time, it wasn't just about politics. It was about Trump's marriage. The latest storm, Jim Carrey joins in. Jimmy Kimmel and Jim Carrey just gave Donald and Melania Trump one of the most brutal roastings we've seen on late-night TV. And for many people, it felt like it was long overdue. Kimmel, with his usual sarcasm, and Carrey, with his wild energy, didn't hold back. They turned a comedy segment into what felt like a full-on takedown. One viewer even said, "If Karma had a late-night show, this would be the grand finale." That pretty much sums it up. Kimmel, who's known for slicing into people with sharp humor, joked about Trump's messy leadership style. He talked about a memo the White House sent, warning federal agencies about possible layoffs. "Don't worry," Kimmel joked. "This won't affect the butler who brings Trump his Diet Coke 10 times a day." He didn't stop there. He mocked the confusion in Trump's messages to government workers. "They'll be fired. No, not fired. Maybe semi-fired. Now they'll be wood-fired, with caramelized onions," Kimmel said, turning the confusion into a joke that made the audience burst out laughing. Meanwhile, Carrey brought his usual larger-than-life performance. He didn't even need to exaggerate much. Trump gave him enough material. Carrey's style is to take a person's worst traits and push them just enough to show how ridiculous they are. And with Trump, he had a lot to work with. But while the jokes were funny, the reaction was even louder. Viewers couldn't stop talking about it, and even Trump's strongest supporters were left squirming. That was just the beginning. Melania wasn't spared either. While Trump took most of the heat, Melania also became part of the punchline. Kimmel didn't forget her. He described her as someone who just floats in the background like an AI-generated first lady. That line alone had people talking. The idea that she always looks like she doesn't want to be there was something many viewers already believed. And Kimmel just said it out loud. He joked about her wearing oversized sunglasses and rolling her eyes behind them. Then he added, "Is she already planning her next Be Best campaign? Maybe this time to stop her husband from rage tweeting." That jab cut deep and got plenty of laughs. And then came one of the funniest fake quotes Kimmel made up for Melania. He pretended she shared her favorite memory from her time as First Lady. According to the joke, her best moment was when Trump got the China virus and had to be airlifted to the hospital. She danced around a giant bonfire with Barron, Kimmel joked, and shot firecrackers at Mike Pence. Then he added that she had the Lincoln bedroom all to herself and didn't sleep. Wink. Too many smiles. It was clearly a joke. But the way Kimmel delivered it made it feel like something straight out of a dark comedy movie. He finished with a funny line, "Sadly, the elephant made it. Oh no, elephant found me. When is he going to jail?" That kind of humor shows Kimmel's skill in mixing reality with sarcasm in a way that feels both silly and sharp. And just like that, Melania became part of the same joke her husband has been stuck in for years. Carrey's performance was something else. Jim Carrey doesn't just make jokes, he performs them. And in this case, he didn't hold back. He brought wild expressions, exaggerated movements, and sharp lines that got the crowd laughing non-stop. But beneath the humor, there was something more serious. He talked about capitalism without conscience. He said that's what we have today. Carrey pointed out how the common man is still being crushed by a system that doesn't care. He tied it to the same kind of power abuse and hatred that we saw in the past. We are fighting those same evils today, he said. It was serious, but the delivery kept it entertaining. At the same time, Carrey also made Trump look like a cartoon. He's a walking, talking parody, the segment explained, except the joke isn't on us, it's on him. Carrey didn't just roast Trump. He took everything strange about him and turned it into a character that felt too real to ignore. And the best part? He didn't need to make anything up. All he did was hold up a mirror and let Trump's own actions speak. Then came the part that had everyone nodding. He's loud, he's outdated, and no matter how many times you try to move on, he just keeps jamming up the system, like an old fax machine. It was funny, but it was also spot on. And Carrey wasn't just going after Trump. He was reminding people how comedy can still be a powerful way to deal with nonsense. That's what made this roast feel bigger than just a late-night joke. Speaking of which, Jimmy Kimmel didn't just make fun of Trump. He aimed right at his pride. Late-night jokes that cut deep. With a straight face and a sarcastic tone, Kimmel said, "If I was going to make stuff up about him, I'd start telling people he wears diapers." He joked that Trump drinks a lot of Diet Coke, and that for someone his age, it wouldn't be a surprise if he needed absorbent undergarments. He even said that the way Trump stands, golfs, and plays tennis might be because he has a full diaper strapped around him. It was brutal. But Kimmel didn't stop there. He went on to talk about how weak Trump's ego really is. Trump's ego is the most delicate thing on the planet, he said. Forget nuclear codes. This man loses his mind over a bad headline. The joke didn't feel random. It pointed at how Trump reacts to criticism, especially when it comes from celebrities. Kimmel described Trump as someone who spends his days rage-posting like an angsty teenager whose crush left him on read. He painted the picture of a man who still acts like he's in a high school drama, even after being president. But the real punch came when Kimmel pointed out the difference between Trump and other former presidents. Most former presidents write books, start charities, or paint in their free time, he said. Trump? He's out here selling gold sneakers and screaming about voter fraud like a man who still can't accept he got fired from the one job he never wanted to do in the first place. Kimmel called him the brand ambassador of incompetence. And in that one sentence, he summed up what many people have felt for years. But you see, Kimmel didn't just roast Trump. He brought Melania into it too. And the jokes about her were just as sharp. Melania's cold stares and Christmas trees. He called her time as First Lady one long, unbroken sigh. He said if body language could file for divorce, hers would have done it in 2017. In public, Melania often looked like she didn't want to be there. Kimmel compared her to a student forced to give a group project presentation but refusing to make eye contact with the class. Every appearance, he said, was a master class in looking deeply uninterested. And then came the jokes about her book. Vanity Fair says Melania Trump's new book is truly bad, Kimmel said, before adding his own twist. But what these reviewers don't realize is that it's not just a book, it's also a fragrance. Smells like Slovenian prenup ink. The line made people laugh, but it also pointed to how disconnected Melania seemed from her role. Kimmel didn't forget her Be Best campaign either. He called it one of the most ironic efforts ever launched. She tried to teach kids about kindness online while being married to the most aggressive cyberbully in modern history. Kimmel joked, "It's like launching a fitness program while married to someone who thinks exercise is walking from the golf cart to the buffet table." Even her Christmas decorations weren't safe. Remember the blood-red trees? Kimmel said they looked like something from a horror movie set. He said her holiday cheer looked more like a set piece from The Shining. And through all of this, Kimmel noticed one thing. Melania always disappears when things go wrong. She's like a Wi-Fi signal in a storm, he joked. Strong when you don't need it, gone when things get chaotic. While Kimmel used sarcasm and wit, Jim Carrey brought energy, faces, and over-the-top impressions. His roast wasn't just loud, it was powerful. Jim Carrey goes full force. Carrey doesn't just copy people, he becomes them. And when it came to Trump, there was no shortage of material. Carrey started by talking about bigger issues. He said we live in a world with capitalism without a conscience. He said that people are still being crushed by greedy systems and leaders with no care for truth or fairness. We are fighting those same evils today, Carrey said, pointing out how Trump represents many of those problems. Then he moved into full comedy mode. He exaggerated Trump's personality, mocked his voice, and threw in wild facial expressions. But the real strength was how true it all felt. Carrey and Kimmel didn't need to lie or twist the facts. They just showed the absurdity that was already there. He's a walking, talking parody, Carrey said. Except the joke isn't on us, it's on him. Carrey didn't just mock Trump's actions. He made fun of how Trump still behaves like he's running a reality TV show. Most past presidents step away quietly, Carrey hinted. Trump? He's yelling on social media, selling shoes, and still acting like he's on The Apprentice. Even Melania wasn't safe from Carrey's jokes. He described her as the ultimate reluctant co-star. He said she played her role like a washed-up actor doing a guest spot on a show they don't care about. With robotic delivery and no emotion, she looked like she didn't want to be part of it. And maybe she didn't. Carrey even mentioned those viral clips where Melania dodged Trump's hand. It's like watching someone try to avoid touching a public restroom door handle, he said. The line was funny but also painted a very clear picture. The roast heard around the world. Kimmel and Carrey didn't just throw a few jokes, they gave a full performance. Together, they turned Trump and Melania into a late-night comedy special. And what made it even funnier? Trump can't really do anything about it. Sure, he might post a rant on social media, he might call them names, but at the end of the day, two comedians just shredded him in front of millions, and deep down, Trump knows it. Trump has always loved the spotlight, but not when he's the target. And that's what makes this roast sting the most. Kimmel described Trump's reactions perfectly. First, he pretends he didn't watch. Then he posts a late-night rant. He might even talk about lawsuits, trying to make it sound serious. But everyone knows, it's just another meltdown. And Melania? Her silence speaks louder than words. Kimmel said she always looks like she doesn't know how she ended up there. Even her Christmas trees looked sad. And when things get rough, she vanishes. In the end, Carrey and Kimmel reminded everyone just how strange the Trump era really was. From fake news rants to gold sneakers and uncomfortable hand-holding, they showed us the side of Trump and Melania that's hard to forget. And the best part? Trump probably thinks Melania is still his biggest supporter. That alone makes the comedy write itself. As Kimmel put it, this isn't just about telling jokes, it's about holding up a mirror. Trump may try to laugh it off, but the truth is, he folds faster than one of his failed casinos. And that's what makes this roast pure late-night gold. At the end of the day, this wasn't just about laughs, it was about how comedy can reflect truth. And for many people, this roast hit harder because it felt like payback. Not in a mean way, but in a funny, creative way that only comedians like Kimmel and Carrey can pull off. And now, everyone's waiting to see how Trump reacts. The script is predictable. First, he pretends he didn't see it. Then comes the rant about Hollywood, maybe even a lawsuit threat. Because nothing says I'm not mad like trying to sue a comedian for making a joke. Until then, one thing's clear. This wasn't just another night of TV. It was a reminder that in the world of late-night comedy, Trump is still one of the biggest punchlines around. Do you think Kimmel and Carrey went too far? Or was it exactly what Trump deserved? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more such stories.